the summer holidays, we look forward to this break from our work.
An inquiring spirit will also be needed this year at Wisewood, a comprehensive in North Sheffield. Notice was served on the school as it broke up in July.
You will be aware of the fact, especially third years, because you've been involved in a lot of discussions about next year's courses, that starting in the fourth year next year, there are several courses that we're putting on for the first time, particularly information technology, integrated design.
This year, Wisewood is getting a sizable chunk of money from the government to take part in its technical and vocational teaching scheme. It's Lord Young's brainchild to produce more school leavers with job-related skills. But in some places it's been applied only to low achievers, while the high flyers are pointed towards further education. Sheffield believes segregation, which could penalise late developers, must be avoided. So here, the money for the scheme will be used across the board. The courses themselves will be modular. In other words, they'll have a whole range of different areas of knowledge built into them. Today, for example, the computers bought with government money for the information technology course are being put to uses as varied as poetry writing and job applications. The idea is to show not just how they work, but how they can affect people's lives. Are you looking forward to doing this module next September?
Yeah.
What do you think you'll learn from it?
Well, I don't know much about computers at the moment, so I think I'll learn quite a lot about them.
Are you interested in computers?
Not really, no, but I could get interested in them, I think, in this course.
I think you'll need to.
I think I'll need to in the future, yeah.
Have you talked with your parents about this new type of teaching?
Yeah.
What do they think about it?
I think it's a good idea, but they're not too keen on the module idea.
Why not?
Because it's alright while you're still at school, but when you get into further education it could be difficult because you'll not be used to taking exams. It could come as a shock when you have to.
As in most schools, the teachers' dispute played havoc with Wisewood's channels of communication to parents. With no meetings at which they could be told about the new plans, guessing what was going to happen in the classroom became harder than deciphering the clues in the annual treasure hunt.
We found it. Might be
oh, that's rubbish that's happened.
Well, there's been plenty to explain how the new combined GCSE exam is going to work and how it will fit in with modular teaching, where a child's performance is assessed continuously with less emphasis on end-of-term exams. Now the fences are mended, and in spite of some confusion and concern, Wisewood parents, like their children, seem happy to take the teaching revolution on trust.
I think it'll be fairer because they'll be assessed, won't they, on all the year-round work, sooner than just an exam at the end of the year, where some might feel really scared about the exam and fall down. Where all year round you do your work, don't you? You should do it properly. So that seems fairer to me.
Do you have any worries that by trying new ideas and innovations like this, the school may be going out too much on a limb and that children may suffer when it comes to trying to get jobs or getting into higher education?
Possibly. I think every parent has worries with the growing numbers of children leaving school and all looking for a job. But I think all new ideas just take a certain amount of time to realise if they are going on the right path. So it's going to be 2 or 3 years before we know how those ideas are going to work out.
Is it the school's job to turn out children who've got a good chance of getting employment, first and foremost, or is it something deeper than that, do you think?
Well, the children want a job, don't they? So if we can prepare them for a job, and it also prepare them for the fact that there might be times in their life when they're not going to have a job. They learn to enjoy the free time as well, I think. They're going to have to do that now, aren't they?
I think it's essential to try and get them geared up, ready to thinking that they're actually going to get a job. You know, put it in the child's mind that there is a job available, they can actually try hard and get that job.
It's going to be a very different atmosphere, though. I mean, children are going to be coming home from school and talking about modules and all kinds of things. And do you all know what modules are?
No.
The shields up on the...
Perhaps you can explain it to us.
If, for example, the approach to education is no longer that you teach history in one class and geography in another and mathematics in another and English in another, but you try and combine the knowledge of all those things into one module. What do you think of that kind of approach?
Well, it's interesting, and let's hope it'll work.
I think it's dynamite. I don't think anybody knows what the answer's going to be.
Task 1 and Task 2. Now, about a quarter of an hour to do this, but the time isn't limited carefully. So open the envelopes, but don't let your partner see what's on there.
Not surprisingly, there are teachers as well as parents who think the new methods have explosive potential. At a rough estimate, about half the staff at Wisewood have private misgivings. For the rest, though, the disappearance of traditional subject boundaries is a challenge rather than a threat.
Right now, cut a triangle out of it.
The communication module of a new course called Integrated Design was devised by Beryl Harlow, one of the enthusiasts.
One pair is working with a lump of clay. One of the pair has to describe an item of food that the other one has to make out of the clay, but he doesn't actually get a chance to tell them what that item of food is, so they're learning communicating through sound and sight and touch. The other pair are drawing a map in order to get one of the pair from the school to the local swimming pool, assuming that they don't know the direction at all, using again any communication skills that they need to do that.
Does this sort of approach make life easier or more difficult for you, for the teachers?
I think once it's prepared, one hopes it's going to make life easier because the kids, one hopes, will be more interested, self-motivated, and therefore we hope that we won't get the discipline problems that have been arising recently.
Sorry, I can't remember the words. That was the way she said it that way instead of that way.
Sounds fairly typical. Yes. What about you, Tim?
Do you think if these children's parents were in here now, they might suspect that you were using children as guinea pigs?
Yes, we could easily be accused of that, because it is so new and so different. But I'm a parent and I'd be perfectly happy for my child to be involved in a course like this. Basically because it's going to make the kids think more for themselves. We hope they are going to enjoy the work they do more because of that. And we can only say that at the end of the year we'd be happy for anybody to come and see us, future employers, parents, and see the work we've done, and we hope that that will convince them that it's the right way to go.
Preparing children for life in tomorrow's Sheffield puts the teachers in a quandary. If they pay more attention to parents, as the government says they must, they'll be concentrating largely on exam qualifications as the best route to employment. But if they listen more to employers, as they're also being urged to do, they could find themselves looking at a totally new vision for the future.
My feeling is, for the majority of children, exams are almost irrelevant. The majority of children now, at the end of year 5, go on to training scheme courses, or they go on into colleges for further studies. And it seems to me, given that fact, that to have a massive public examination system at the end of year 5, when for nearly all children the education system actually goes to the age of 18 rather than post-16, it seems to me to putting an enormous hurdle, an obstacle, into the system, which probably helps more than it hinders.
But the employers are still going to want those pieces of paper, aren't they?
Everybody thinks so. But the reality is now, and I know this from studies that I have done in the education authority that I worked in before I came to Sheffield, that it's something less than 5% of children who leave school at the end of year 5 get asked for examination qualifications. The problem is that in a very small number of occupations they are very important, but for the huge majority they are just not referred to.
How important do you think exam results are going to be?
Very, very important. But you've got a much better chance with exams than without them. Well, that's my opinion anyway.
What's it based on?
I don't know, to be quite honest. Just my opinion. Can't answer that.
It's what you imagine employers are looking for?
Yes, definitely.
You have a problem in conceiving this kind of scheme, of trying to make it work in the context of the real world, the world of exams, the world of universities, the world of parental expectations. Aren't you cutting across all that?
No.
We're in pursuit of the same goals as we were ever in pursuit of in a liberal view of education. We are in pursuit of excellence. We are in pursuit of making children more intelligent. It's the stimulus material and the detail that we're trying to shift. There's no question of us not letting children do O-levels or GCSEs as they now are. It may be, of course, in the long run, that those bastions of reaction like the universities and the examination boards are going to have to see that there are different ways of making children intelligent and different ways of making them competent, rather than asking them hard questions about dead people or Hottentots.
It wouldn't be surprising if Sheffield's reputation for ploughing its own, often unorthodox furrow earned as a convent scheme some critical reactions. It's not the first time the city's Labour-dominated local government has been behind a pioneering venture. Its cheap public transport policy was another, and that came off second best in the confrontation with Whitehall. But the people involved in the scheme insist that they're not trying to change the world, just life at school.
I suspect the kind of happy, active, supportive community that we're looking to provide and we're looking to promote is something that everyone would say, well, that's what we'd like to see throughout our cities, throughout our villages, etc. So I don't think there's a particular political slant toward this at all.
Do you think you might be accused of conducting a social engineering experiment here?
In my teaching career, I've been accused of being either extreme right-wing or extreme left-wing, depending on where I've been working at the time. No, I don't think that is a fair accusation of Sheffield. I've recently come to Sheffield from another education authority, and I know that that education authority was having to face exactly the same kinds of problems that we face here in Sheffield, and I have to say it was moving towards very similar kinds of, I won't say solutions, but hoped for solutions to the problem. So Sheffield is very much part of a national picture, I feel.
This site here at Ironbridge has got lots of big beam engines, static, not working anymore. They've got big flywheels. It's like the education system. We have a static system that hasn't responded to changing need. What we're trying to do is to give teachers in Sheffield the opportunity to give a big static flywheel a good shot.